History is often a whisper carried through time, a faint echo of moments that shaped the world we live in today. Welcome to Echoes Untold. Please like, share and subscribe. The tragedy of United Airlines Flight 629. It was November 1, 1955, a quiet, unremarkable day at Denver's Stapleton Airport. Passengers boarded United Airlines Flight 629, a sleek Douglas District of Columbia 6B airliner, ready for a journey to Portland, Oregon, with a planned stopover in Seattle. The plane, named Mainliner Denver, was a state-of-the-art aircraft for its time, symbolizing the progress and promise of post-war aviation. The passenger list reflected the diversity of lives intersecting for that flight: business travelers heading to meetings, families embarking on vacations, and individuals with personal stories yet untold. Among them was Daisy King, a wealthy and well-known Denver businesswoman traveling to visit relatives. The skies were clear, the weather calm, ideal conditions for flying. At 6:52 p.m., the plane's engines roared to life, and Flight 629 climbed steadily into the darkening Colorado sky. Captain Lee Hall, a seasoned aviator with over 15,000 hours of flying experience, was in command, ensuring the flight was on track and routine. However, just 11 minutes after takeoff, something catastrophic occurred. At precisely 7:03 p.m., a deafening explosion rocked the aircraft. A fireball lit up the night sky, visible for miles. Witnesses on the ground near Longmont, Colorado, described a chilling sight: pieces of the aircraft engulfed in flames, spiraling toward the earth. The plane had disintegrated mid-air, leaving no chance for survival. A scene of devastation. The wreckage of Flight 629 was scattered across a 5-square-mile area of farmland, a grim testament to the violence of the explosion. Farmers and residents, startled by the sudden blast, rushed toward the crash site, hoping to help. But what they found was devastation beyond comprehension. Burning debris was strewn across fields, mingled with personal belongings: a child's doll, a torn photograph, fragments of luggage. The silence was broken only by the crackling of fires and the somber arrival of emergency responders. It was clear that no one on board had survived. The sheer force of the explosion had obliterated the aircraft, leaving rescuers to sift through charred fragments and twisted metal. Among the wreckage lay the remains of 39 passengers and 5 crew members, their identities marked only by scattered personal effects. The investigation begins. Investigators from the Civil Aeronautics Board, CAB, arrived at the scene, faced with the monumental task of piecing together what had caused the disaster. In the 1950s, aviation accidents were commonly attributed to mechanical failure or pilot error. Initially, this case appeared no different. However, as investigators examined the wreckage, they began to notice anomalies. Certain parts of the aircraft bore distinctive burn patterns that didn't match engine fires or structural failures. The evidence suggested an external explosion, with the epicenter located in the baggage compartment beneath the passenger cabin. The turning point in the investigation came when traces of dynamite residue were discovered on the debris. The conclusion was chilling: this was no accident. Flight 629 had been deliberately sabotaged. Uncovering the truth, the focus shifted to the passengers, as investigators searched for clues about who might have orchestrated such an act. Among the names on the manifest, one stood out: Daisy King. Her background as a wealthy businesswoman drew attention, but it was her son, Jack Graham, who became the primary suspect. Graham's history revealed a troubled individual with a criminal record, including charges of forgery. His relationship with Daisy was fraught with tension, marked by financial disputes and deep-seated resentment. A breakthrough came when investigators uncovered that Graham had purchased a $37,500 life insurance policy on his mother just hours before the flight. This staggering sum raised immediate suspicions, particularly given the policy's timing. Further evidence painted an even darker picture. Witnesses reported seeing Graham acting strangely after the crash, showing little emotion and deflecting questions. Investigators also learned that he had personally packed his mother's suitcase before the flight, a suitcase that concealed a homemade dynamite bomb. The device was designed to detonate shortly after takeoff, ensuring the destruction of the plane. Jack Graham had coldly calculated not only his mother's death but also the deaths of 43 other innocent people, all for financial gain. Witnesses and community impact. As the investigation unfolded, the community of Longmont, Colorado, grappled with the magnitude of the tragedy. Residents who had witnessed the explosion shared haunting accounts. One farmer described seeing a massive fireball erupt in the sky, followed by flaming debris raining down. Another recalled the eerie silence that descended after the initial blast, broken only by the distant sounds of rescue efforts. The families of the victims faced unimaginable grief. Many arrived at the crash site, hoping to recover belongings or pieces of their loved ones' final moments. The deliberate nature of the act added an extra layer of horror, leaving the nation reeling. Lessons from tragedy. The sabotage of United Airlines Flight 629 was one of the first recorded instances of aviation terrorism, a shocking realization for an industry that had focused primarily on mechanical safety. The tragedy exposed vulnerabilities in air travel, leading to significant changes in security practices. Airlines began implementing stricter baggage checks and closer scrutiny of life insurance policies purchased at airports. While these measures could not undo the loss of life, they marked the beginning of a more secure era in aviation. A legacy of loss. The deliberate destruction of Flight 629 stands as a grim reminder of how one person's malice can ripple outward, causing devastation on an unimaginable scale. 44 lives were cut short, their dreams and stories lost in an instant. Thank you for joining us as we remember this tragic chapter in history. If this story resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe to Echoes Untold. Together, let's honor the past and keep its lessons alive. See you in the next episode.